so mad. So lovely to be back with you. I've actually been not videoing for some time. Now I know you're sitting there thinking, say what? You've had a video out once a week, Cara. But I've actually been batch filming, if there's such a thing, and had some scheduled projects going on. And I have only been doing a little bit of sewing over the last few weeks too. Who knew? But I'm back in the rhythm of almost sort of live, if you like, certainly over the same weekend. So as I'm filming this, it's a Sunday. I believe it's about the 3rd of August, and this should come up to you later today. So that's really exciting. And what I thought I'd do is I thought I'd take you through a few of the projects I have been making. So when I sew, I say I've not been sewing very much. You know, that's not really true. And actually, I'm sewing probably as much as someone else would sew over the month, but I look around now and I've actually got at least 2 videos worth of things to show you, but I thought I'd break it up into chunks if that's all right. And I hope you're keeping well. So thank you so much for all the lovely support you've given me over the last few videos. Just a small recap, me and Bex did a wonderful collaboration. That was last week's video, I believe, and I'm thoroughly enjoying wearing what we made, and I'll briefly take you over that in case you haven't had a chance to see that. I did a fabric haul video with the wonderful Sarah, more on that to come later, and I had a video where I was discovering new patterns, and I think I've made some progress on that. That'll be coming in a future video, so that was really exciting. And within that, for the first time, was a paid collaboration that I did with Craftsy. So I hope you've been enjoying checking out Craftsy as a result of maybe learning about it a little bit on my video. So those sorts of collaborations, paid collaborations, really do support my channel. So thank you very much in advance if you've had a chance to watch that and like it, because I would love to have some more paid collaborations with them in the future. So enough waffle, Cara. Tell us what you've been making, and in true vlogger style, why don't I start with what I'm wearing? And this is the Dew dress by Friday Pattern Company. Let me put the stock photo up here. And I was influenced by probably more, but the two loveliest people who I'm lucky to know in my sewing world. And number one is, well, no particular order. Number one was the lovely Adele from Sew for Serenity. She made a Dew dress out of I think it was a Lady McElroy Faces cotton jersey, which I just thought was amazing. And then when I was on my recent fabric trip with the lovely Sarah from Sew Sarah Style, I think she was wearing a very similar dress to the Dew dress, but she had a Dew dress top on when I first got there, and the following day she was wearing a style art dress, I believe, which is very, very similar. So I was very inspired by them both and thought, oh, I'm going to have a look at that pattern. So the Dew dress, as I say, is Friday Pattern Company. It's designed for stretch fabrics, and I would suggest it needs to have something with a little bit of structure. So this 50p a metre black cotton jersey that I got from the fabric market is perfect for this, and I thoroughly enjoyed making the process of it. It was really interesting because it's such a simple make. You've basically got a front piece cut on the fold, back piece cut on the fold, and then you've got binding for the armholes and binding for the pockets, and that's it. So really, really simple. And actually the pockets are really great because they're, you know, like on the Billy dress, you've got like this cutout, so you can see there on both sides, you've actually got this lovely, lovely detail. And then you can see there the stitch line, I think. You stitch the pocket to the front of the dress, so it's not flapping around in there. And then you can see there you've got this lovely binding that really came together beautifully. Now, the curious thing about this dress is I made it exactly as per instructions, but the neckline is actually quite high, and I prefer more, and I knew this. So it's not the pattern's designer, that is how the pattern is meant to be. So it comes up quite high, it doesn't sit close to your neck or anything like that. But I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm not sure that's for me. So I undenied. I think I might have even worn the dress as it came out, and then what I decided to do was to actually unpick the shoulder seams. So the shoulder seams would have gone a little bit higher up here, as I'm indicating here. So all I did was unpick the shoulder seams to create a sort of a more boat neck, if you like, as opposed to the funnel neck of the original dress. Now the inside of this top piece is actually created by just a very simple grown-on facing, if you like. The original facing piece was massive because of this funnel neck. It's actually meant to sit, you know, on the inside, and I didn't like that once I'd cut it down. So, in true Cara style, I just took the scissors to it and cut it off. So I confess that if you're ever sitting with me in a pub, which I very much like, by the way, you might see my facing popping out because I cut my facing too short. But you know what? Life's too short to worry about these things, so I just stitched it down so it doesn't poke out a little bit. But I have worn this dress. Let me put some photos in here. I have worn this dress on rotation. I don't know what it is about it. Now granted, I'm not sure I could have worn this in the heat that we were having a few weeks ago, but in this sort of lovely ambient summer weather that we're having, this has been perfect and I love it. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I do, and I can't really narrow it down as to why I like it so much. It's a curious thing, really. I don't know if it's because it's black and it's really easy to wear. I don't know if it's because of the comfort of it. I really like the style of it, but it's not exactly what's the word I would say? It's not doesn't show off. You know, there's no definition of your features or anything like that. So curious. But I love it, and I've definitely got more planned. So I've got some lovely, actually it's the curious thing because I said about the structured fabric, and the remainder of the jerseys I have definitely aren't structured, so I'm not sure how that's going to go, but I thought I might try it in a more drapey viscose because I think this bit would look lovely. The bit that's going to suffer, I guess, is that really nice shape at the bottom, but it might just drape, so I think it's worth a go. So I'm definitely going to make some more of these. But what do you think? I just do genuinely love it. So thank you very much for the inspiration. Lovely. Adele and Sarah as well. Much appreciated. No, it's funny, some months of my channel are really Maison Fauve heavy, and I have absolutely no problem with that, and that goes with the ebb and flow of their pattern releases as well. And I'm very lucky to be able to be provided with some patterns and things. And spoiler alert, I have already seen their September collection, and it's amazing. So I can't wait to get started on those. So they'll be arriving for me to make at some stage end of August, which is very, very exciting. But you know what? I'm going to show you something. Okay, I know, not one but two patterns. Why would you do that to yourself, Cara? Now this is the Petula robe, which actually I've made the blouse version of. Let me put at least one, if not two, of the versions I've made. So it's clear to see that I love this pattern. So why have I got two of them? Let me put another photo in. This is what happens when you have a young dog in the house. Now, as I explained in a previous video, I love to batch cut. So I batch cut patterns. I leave the patterns pinned to the fabric. And in this particular occasion, I'd left my fabric and pattern and everything on the floor in my sewing room. Now this doesn't normally happen, and I'm not sure why that happened exactly, but it was quite a big pile of things. And I came home from work. The dog has literally eaten my pattern. Now fortunately the pins were just scattered around the floor, so yeah, no damage done to the dog, but definitely damage done to the pattern. Now, lovely Priya and Emily at Maison Fauve are very good to me, and I did literally, oh, that was quite funny, it's too funny to miss up. I literally messaged them and said the dog has eaten my homework, as in dog has eaten my pattern. But on the same message I said, you've been so kind to me, don't worry. Now they did kindly come back and say, no, we're happy to provide another one for you, but you know how kind they've been to me. So I bought another pattern, which led on to something else. Maybe I should link that in now, but I won't. I'll leave that to a future video. But let's put it this way: when something was coming over from France, I decided to add something else into the parcel. So I then had 2 copies of that, and in fact I've actually managed to salvage some of the pieces because I had already cut the pattern out. But when it comes to making another one of these Petula blouses or tops, then I'm going to have to recut the whole pattern. Such is life. First world problem, really. But this is the blouse I chose to make, and this fabric was provided to me at the beginning of the summer, really, as part of their release for the pattern. And this absolutely divine matte tencel fabric in the colour almond. And I think, because this is the 3rd one of these, and I think this is actually my favourite in terms of the ruching on the shoulders. The first version I made, let me put a photo in here, is made out of their beautiful Posy jacquard viscose, which is quite a structured sort of silky fabric. The second one I made is out of a fabric I bought from Dot Studio, and that is a linen viscose. I'll put the picture of me in there. And then this fabric, as you can see, is very drapey, but look how stunning that is on the shoulders. It is amazing. So I'll put the photo in here. Now it's really, putting myself out in the public eye is a funny old thing, and I do it happily. I really do. I love having you in my life for company, but it's funny how keyboard warrior people can be, because I had noticed on the previous 2 blouses I've made that actually the shoulders do tend to slip, and so what I did on those is actually put gathering into the shoulder here after I've made it and worn it to try and reduce that a little bit. But on this version I'd already cut out the pattern, so there was nothing I could do about that. And how this comes together, it's not complicated, but it is a number of pattern pieces, so again it would have been really hard for me to adapt it. So what I did was I literally in order to make it sit better and make it a little bit smaller on the top half, I actually just increased the seam allowance here. Now obviously if I raise the seam allowance here, this is going to affect the bust dart here, and this sort of thing I think is why people get worried about being worried about sewing, or they get they get hung up on the idea of things being perfect. Because for me, having my bust dart in a slightly different position really isn't even on my agenda. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. If it looked ridiculous, then of course I'd do something about it. But it didn't even occur to me that when I put this picture up, or this video I think it was, up onto Instagram, that I would get the amount of comments I did about, there are lots of videos that show you how to change the pattern, how to lower the bust darts, or was that a design feature, the bust darts being so high, etc, etc. Now I know people mean well, and they are all absolutely relevant statements to make. So now you're thinking, what are you complaining about, Cara? It's an observation that I'm not even sure I thought people that observant, I suppose. I don't know. I don't want to dig myself a hole here. But I would encourage people that when they are responding and putting commentary in whatever perspective they want to put it, then just bear in mind how it might come across to the reader, because it's a funny old thing. Anyway, enough said about that. My bust darts are a little bit high, and actually what I did was went back in and explained that I had changed the shoulders, increased the this had obviously increased the position of the bust dart. Then I also put on there, funnily enough, no one at work or my husband has mentioned how high, or any of my friends have mentioned how high the bust dart was. Seemingly it's only the sewing community that are that worried about it. So anyway, I love it. It does fit much better. When I cut out the non-Tilly chewed version, I will actually downsize. a size down rather, but this is it's a beautiful v-neck on here. Now I have quite big testicles, as you know, but actually this part of me is quite petite, I suppose, and I actually think it's really quite feminine how it sort of accentuates my collarbones and things like that. I think it's actually quite nice. Is there a bit of hollowing here? Yes. Again, it's personal taste, isn't it? Personal preference, but I absolutely love it, and I've worn this so much. Just slightly frustrating, particularly because this is such lightweight fabric. I don't have any way of securing the facings. They're obviously sewn, stitched in the ditch and things. When you're wearing it, you don't know that that's even a thing, but in case you're thinking, oh, why is that not? Because I don't want to top stitch that down. I think it would really spoil the line, but it's lovely. So that's the Petula blouse by Maison Fauve. What shall I show you next? Well, let me show you briefly in case you haven't had a chance to watch it, and you have to excuse it, it's a little bit creased, but look, I love this fabric. Ha ha ha. It's a curious thing actually. So this is the viscose crepe that I got given from Mr. Tissue, and Beck and I, what Beck sews, Beck and I got the same fabric, and we decided to do a collaboration together. So please, if you haven't watched that already, head back to last week's video, not just now, hang around for a second, and have a watch of that, because it's just great fun, and you can see what Beck made as well. But it's, you know how crepe, it's obviously got a crinkled texture to it, but actually it's quite rough actually, this fabric, but when I iron it, it goes smoother again, so I'm not sure, as in softer. So I'm not sure, but let me put a picture in of me in this one. I absolutely love this, and I had forgotten just how much I love an Esti. Now, Esti is Tilly in the buttons. Don't think I put, oh yeah, I did. Put a little label on the back there to show you, yeah, a nice big wide trousers as well. I need to stitch that back down actually, because the elastic has a tendency to move about a bit, which is a bit frustrating, but that's okay, because again, once it's under tension, it doesn't go anywhere. But I absolutely love that set, and I had forgotten just how much I love an Esti. But oh my goodness, how many cord sets is too many? Is there such a number? I think not, but yeah, I love this. So thank you once again, Beck, for inspiring me to get that fabric made up, and I'm sure you've head on over and watch Beck's video about the collaboration too, because it was just such great fun. Really brilliant. Now I have been thinking about my well-being. I've been thinking about my fitness and my health and my weight, and not because of anything in particular, but really because I'm now 51, and I just feel like my body needs some help, really, and I need to start looking after myself in order to invest into the latter years, I suppose. I'm also, by the way, always conscious that now is now and the future is then, and I can't, whatever I start doing now, I've got no guarantee of me continuing to do it. But if I do nothing, then that's not helping me at all. So there's a long way of saying that I've decided to join a nutrition club, is what it's called. It's based on Herbalife, which some of you may have heard of. Which I didn't realise I was entering into that when I inquired, because actually I was inquiring about a fit camp, and the fit camp is 2 nights a week. I happened to be with Sarah actually when all this is coming about. And then it turns out actually the fit camp is affiliated with this Herbalife sort of nutrition club, and it's, you basically drink a lot of fluids, you eating 90 grams of protein a day, and then there's one shake to have a day, that sort of thing. So I'm sure you've heard of that before. And let me think, I must be a month in, just about, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. Now, weight-wise, I haven't lost any weight exactly, but I've gained 1.2 pounds in muscle. I've lost 16 centimetres in measurements in my tummy, and generally I'm feeling really well, which is just, well, I always, actually I was feeling well before, but more importantly than that, I feel mobility wise much better. And so when I started doing this fit camp, there's some sewing in here somewhere, I promise. When I started doing this fit camp, I had already made, I should have brought it with me, the stride tights from Green Star Creations. In fact, just bear with me, I think this is just it here, sorry, I'm always getting up and down. That's actually the pack of them, if you like, so let me show you. Can you see you've got a lovely stripe across here and then a stripe across the side, and there's actually some pockets in these bits here, which is just genius. And I made some out of a beautiful peacock blue matte lycra with the rainbow fabrics. I just happen to have a tiny scrap of it left. Do you remember this from years ago? I've made lots of things out of this actually. So I've made the stride tights in capri length with a V-neck sort of tank top, and I just felt really good in it, and actually lots of people asked me about it. So naturally I thought, oh, well, I'm going to put the two things together. So actually I'll put a picture up here because it looks better on the body than it does off the body. I decided to make the Largo tank by Itch to Stitch, which is a free pattern, and I think I'd made this before but somehow or another rushed it, I think. Shocking, I know. This time I decided to make the top first and then the trousers, and I'm really pleased with how this came out. I believe, I haven't watched any Sewing Bee, by the way, nothing at all. I just haven't, but I believe this is on the Sewing Bee, or was on the Sewing Bee as a fabric. It's a Minerva exclusive. I was given this years ago actually as part of a ambassador role that I occasionally do for Minerva, so that is really cool. And then, as you'll see in the photo here, I made some trousers as well. Look at these. I am so pleased with how these have come out, and you end up with this lovely back on here. So obviously lycra looks awful when it's off the hanger, but I'll hopefully put a video in or some pictures there. How lovely is that? And again, honestly, I'd only been 3 times, so I did buy a set of shorts and a t-shirt from Sainsbury's, I think it was, but then I'd had these 2 homemade outfits either side, and they were like, oh my god, you look so glamorous, where did you get your stuff from? It's so sweet. And I've never met any of these people before. I'm like, it's only the 3rd time I've come, I don't want to, raise too many expectations here, but how lovely is that? So I hope you enjoyed seeing what I've been up to. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. I absolutely love having a rhythm back in my life of doing videoing and sharing with you what I'm making. I'm going to share, I think the next video actually will be some plans and ideas, and then I have got some more things that I can take you through in another video coming up really soon. So have a lovely week everybody. Please don't forget to interact with my channel in some way, shape or form. Views are tough through August is all I'm going to say. I'm not sure if that's affected everybody, but if you're off having a lovely holiday, have a wonderful time. But please, when you get a chance, if you could go back and watch some of the videos from the past few weeks, I would really appreciate it, as it's been a tough old month. I don't know what's happened there, but that's just how it goes sometimes. But I'm happy to be here, and leave me a comment and I respond to all of them. So until next time everybody, take care.